I just did a decently sized grocery trip. Hopefully it is going to get us through a little over 2 weeks. I'm thinking about 15 or 16 days worth of food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I got it for about 160 bucks, a little less because I did have a couple things that I threw in that weren't necessarily food items. So that's about 80 bucks a week for our family, which I'm going to say that's a decent amount of money to spend. And I'm going to try something that I haven't really done before, and it's freezer meals. And I looked online, found a couple recipes that I liked the idea, found a lot actually, but I found 4 that I'm going to do today. And so basically, if you don't know what a freezer meal is, it is sort of prepping the meal in advance. So I'm going to prep, I think it comes out to like 10 or 11 meals today that I'm going to prep in advance, and I'm going to freeze the ingredients, and then when it comes time I just thaw them, throw them in a crock pot, and cook them. So that day I'm not chopping and making stuff. All I'm doing is, like I said, if I know what I'm going to have tomorrow, I'm going to thaw it that night, and then I'm going to throw it in the crock pot for however long the recipe says, and hopefully have a good dinner at the end of it and not really have to do a lot of work. So it's one day of work and then kind of, you know, like 2 weeks of laziness basically. So the 4 recipes I'm going to be doing today are, I have them down here if you see me looking down, are tortilla chicken soup, chicken taco chili, barbecue chicken and veggies, and minestrone soup. I'll kind of be going over those recipes as we go through this video, but I'm also going to put a link to my blog post that I'm also talking about this on, so you guys can look and see the recipes, print them off if you'd like, and try them yourself. So some of the main things you're going to see, there's a lot of fresh vegetables, there's a lot of chicken breast. It's a cheapish meat and it's pseudo healthy, and it doesn't have a lot of fat. So I did like the boneless, skinless chicken breast, so I got like 2 huge packages of those. And lots of tomatoey products. I don't know, like I said, you'll just kind of see them as I go. Because I don't want this video to be 5 hours long, I'm not going to show you like the actual process of chopping everything up. I'm just going to say, hey, I chopped this up, and I'll show you, and then you can believe me, or you can believe that I paid somebody to come chop stuff. You know what? I just figured I would shorten the video up a little bit by doing that. And then I don't know exactly how many meals I'm going to get out of this, so I'm going to put that in at the end and kind of tell you what I did get out of it and what the plans for the rest of the week are. So I have these freezer meals I'm doing, but I also have a couple of cheat meals. So like things, really simple stuff like meatless spaghetti, stuff like that, you don't really have to get prepared for. So I have like 5 cheat meals, and then the rest of these are freezer meals. Okay, so for the first one, we're going to be doing barbecue chicken and veggies, and you're going to need 2 green peppers chopped, a red pepper chopped, a zucchini chopped, 3 onions chopped, 6 red potatoes chopped, 4 garlic cloves chopped, 4 chicken breasts, 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, a tablespoon of brown sugar, and a bottle of barbecue sauce. And this is going to make 2 meals. Just finished cutting the 1 green pepper, but I thought of something that I wanted to tell you. So I have just these gallon-size zip bags, and what I'm going to do is write what it is on the bag, and then along with any directions for after I thaw it, so how long it needs to cook in the crock pot or whatever. That way I can avoid writing on it when it's full of food, and also so I'm not looking through it and like, which one's this? So anyways, okay, so I'm going to try to show you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. So I have the date that I did it, what it is, and then it says thaw first, and then in the slow cooker, high for 4 hours, low for 8 hours. So I know if I'm trying to do it really quick, it needs at least 4 hours, or if I'm going to do it all day and kind of develop the flavors, then it's going to need 8 hours. Okay, so I have 2 bags right now. They've each got 1 chopped green pepper in it and half a chopped red pepper in it. So what it calls for next is a zucchini chopped. Here's with the zucchini in it. It says chopped, so I'm thinking it should be smaller. I like kind of chunkier vegetables, so what I've done was I sliced the zucchini and then I just quartered them because, like I said, I like them to be a bit chunkier. So the next thing was 3 chopped onions, 1.5 each. And you have to see this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. These onions. I'm only halfway done and my eyes, they're watering so bad. I didn't think I was ever going to get done those onions. Those were so strong. Probably the strongest I've had in a long time. Like, oh, it's so bad. My eyes are still burning, but they're slowly cooling down. So, onions done. In the bag. 6 red potatoes chopped, and I like red potatoes with the skin on them, so I'm just going to scrub them and chop them up. So 6 of them. So here's one with the potatoes in it. You can tell this is getting to be quite a thing of food, and we still have the meat to add to it. So this is definitely going to be a plenty big meal. I was thinking I was going to have to maybe do a side with it, but I think this is going to be fine. It's got potatoes, all the vegetables, plus the chicken breasts, so it'll be good. Okay, so I got a little lazy here. They have 4 cloves of garlic chopped, and I didn't want to mess with that. I also don't have a garlic press or anything like that. So I just have like the squeezable garlic, don't judge me. And so the equivalent in the squeezable garlic is, it's a half a teaspoon per clove. So we need 2 teaspoons of the squeezable garlic, 1 in each bag. Okay, so I've done the garlic. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to open up one of my packages of chicken breasts that I picked up. I'm going to take 4 of them out. So this is about the size of the one of them. Like I said, a lot of meat. I'm going to go ahead, I don't want to put them in whole. It doesn't tell me to put them in whole or to chop them up or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of slice them a bit and put them in that way. So 2 chicken breasts in each bag. Alright, so this is it with the chicken. They're starting to get super heavy. Luckily we don't have that much more stuff to put in them. Here's the other one. See, I kind of have them sitting in a pot so I can keep the bags open and be filling them up without having too much of a hassle. The next thing you need is 15 ounces of tomato sauce. I do not have a garden or the stuff to bottle or do any of that, so I'm using an actual can of tomato sauce. And again, you're going to do half the can in one, half the can in the other. There's that. It doesn't look quite so pretty now, does it? But it's got the tomato sauce in it. And the next thing is going to be a bottle of barbecue sauce. So we decided to try honey hickory barbecue sauce. This is 1 pound, 2 ounces, 18 ounces, so it's going to be about 9 ounces each. Okay, I've added the barbecue sauce. And the very, very last thing you're going to do is brown sugar, and it's going to be a half a tablespoon in each bag of brown sugar. Okay, so now that I've added the sugar at the very top, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's in there, I promise. You need to get all the air out. I don't have one of those super fancy, like, vacuum things or whatever, but I'm just going to get all the air out because the air can cause it to go bad. Okay, so I've kind of flattened the bag, I've sealed the bag, flattened it out. And this is one meal, and I'm going to do the same with the second one. Okay, so this next one is going to be the tortilla chicken stew. Anyways, the ingredients: 1.5 pounds of chicken breasts, 1 12-ounce jar of salsa, a pound of frozen corn, a pound of mixed bell peppers, 6 corn tortillas ripped or shredded by hand. And then you cook in the slow cooker for low for 8 to 10 hours. So I used probably slightly over 1.5 pounds. I know that's what the recipe called for, but I just felt like I had a couple extra chicken breasts, the one I was planning on using. So I did about 1 pound each of chicken. So this is slightly over a 12-ounce jar of salsa. I'm not going to use it all, I just got a good deal on this. It is picante, Probably should have maybe bought chunky, but I'm just going to use the picante for now and deal with it. So it's mild because I'm a weakling, and I was afraid of doing the hot or anything. So yeah, it is 12 ounces, 6 ounces each. So I'm going to measure out 3/4 of a cup each and put them in the bags. Okay, so salsa in with the chicken. For a pound of frozen corn. So it's about a cup each bag. So here's with the corn added in. And then the next thing they called for was a pound of mixed bell peppers. I didn't like how the yellow ones were looking, so I got green and orange. Here is with the bell peppers in it. And then we're going to do 6 corn tortillas, 3 each shredded. So I just chopped the tortillas into strips. They're on top. I'm going to let all the air out and we're gonna go freeze them. Okay, so the next recipe we're doing is chicken taco chili. And I'm actually gonna try to get 3 meals out of this. Definitely 4, but I'm hoping 3. The recipe calls for 3 chicken breasts. I actually have a extra, so I'm going to do 4 chicken breasts to kind of help spread the meat out. And then I don't know, just with everything else in it, I feel like it's going to be more of a 3-meal sort of thing for our family, but like I said, definitely 2, and we'll see how it goes. The recipe calls for 1 onion chopped, 1 16-ounce can of black beans, a 16-ounce can of kidney beans, 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, a 10-ounce frozen corn, 2 14.5-ounce cans of diced tomatoes, 1 packet of taco seasoning, a tablespoon of cumin, a tablespoon of chili powder, 3 chicken breasts, chopped cilantro, chili peppers, optional. I'm going to put probably some crushed red chili in it. And then cook in slow cooker on low for 10 hours or on high for 6 hours. So I keep changing my mind, oh my gosh. So this one I think I'm actually going to do, I'm going to cut up the chicken breasts, divide them into the 3 bags, and then mix everything else in a separate pot and then see what it looks like. If it looks like it's going to be a 3-bag sort of meal, then I will divide them into the 3 bags. If it looks like only 2, I'll take the 3rd bag of chicken, mix it in with the other 2 bags of chicken, and make it 2 meals. Okay, I have 3 bags of chicken. Now it's time to make myself cry again and chop another onion. I have a bowl of chopped onion right here, and I'm just going to dump it in this pot, and we'll ladle it out later. The next thing is 1 16-ounce can of black beans. I have a 15.25-ounce can because I couldn't find a 16-ounce can, and I didn't want to buy 2 of them for 3/4 of an ounce. So we're slightly low on black beans. Is a 16-ounce can of kidney beans. So I have one of those right here. And I'm going to open that up and put it in. Okay, so right now I have the black beans and the kidney beans in here. I know it's kind of not lit and you can't see it, but you can believe me. And I have the onions. Next thing we're going to add in is 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. Next thing is 10 ounces of frozen corn. The next is 2 14-ounce cans of diced tomatoes, a packet of taco seasoning. Next you're going to need a tablespoon of cumin. And I didn't need to buy this because I keep cumin on hand. So later when we talk about prices and all that, or as you see the prices on this video, know that I didn't factor in any of my seasonings except if they were fresh. So next is a tablespoon of chili powder. The last required ingredient is cilantro. I've got a little bundle right here. I'm just going to chop up some of that it just says chopped cilantro, so I'm going to say it's going to be towards taste. Like I mentioned earlier, the recipe calls for chili peppers, which is optional. I'm going to go ahead and use some crushed red pepper. Not a ton because, like I said earlier, I'm a wuss, but I'm going to add some sort of spice to it. So, since I'm going to be ladling this chili into the bags, I kind of want it to be, you know, evenly dispersed. So I am mixing it all up right now, and then I'm going to ladle it. So I think this is going to be a 3-bag meal for us, just because I know what we eat. Probably for a larger family it would just be a 2-bag meal. For an extremely large family, a 1-bag meal. Anyways, I'm just going to evenly do it, a spoon, a spoon, a spoon, a spoon, a spoon, a spoon until it's out. It will be on the smallest side for a meal, so I mean, not horribly small, but on the smaller side. So I'm probably going to do a like a side of maybe Spanish or Mexican rice, and have the chili also, and or something like that. I don't know, but it smells really good now. It's not even cooked, and I love it. Oh, so it's not really well lit. I'm sorry, but this is what it looks like. Okay, so here is 1 bag. It doesn't look that big, but it's a good amount. So that was the 1 bag, and then I'm just gonna let out the air again, flatten it out, put it in the freezer. Alright, so saved the meatless one for last, which is the minestrone, and it's also probably gonna make me the most. I'm thinking 4 bags, definitely 3, but I'm thinking 4. And like I said, meatless, so I've got everything cleaned up from the chicken, and we'll start there. This is going to be another one that I'm going to make in the pot and then ladle out separately, because I just don't want to mess with trying to separate it in the bags. So, things the recipe calls for: a red onion, 4 cloves of garlic, a small bunch of chives, a medium bunch of basil, 3 15-ounce cans of tomato sauce, a 28-ounce can of stewed tomatoes, a 32-ounce carton, 2 32-ounce cartons of vegetable broth, 6 large carrots, a pound of zucchini, 1 small eggplant, 2 15-ounce cans of kidney beans, 1 pound of frozen peas, a pound of frozen corn, a half a pound of mushroom, 5 stalks of celery, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and it also needs dry pasta noodles, but you don't add the pasta noodles in until a half an hour before the soup is done cooking, and you so cook on low for 6 to 8 hours, and then add dry pasta noodles during the last 30 minutes of cooking. Okay, so the red onions at my store look like crap, so I didn't get any red onions, and I'm going to use a yellow onion, and I don't think it's going to horribly destroy the soup. Okay, so I've got my onions in my pot. I'm going to now need 4 cloves of garlic. Again, I'm going to use my cheating garlic, which for me that is going to be 2 teaspoons of garlic. And then it calls for a small bunch of chives. So I just picked up some of these. I'm just going to chop them up, and I'm just going to pick out some of the ones that don't look that great, and then chop the rest up. And then it calls for a medium bunch of basil. So I have a thing of fresh basil, and I'm just going to take out a little bit of it and chop it as best as I can. So next is 3 15-ounce cans of tomato sauce. Okay, so it calls for a 28-ounce can of stewed tomatoes. I couldn't find a 28-ounce can, so I got 2 14.5, so it's going to be 29 ounces of stewed tomatoes. This is 2 32-ounce cartons of vegetable broth stock. You can see how this is getting to be like it's getting to be a pretty big pot full. Next thing you need is 6 large carrots. So I have my carrots here. I like to peel them beforehand, so I'm going to peel them real quick and then dice, or not dice them, but chop them into fairly thin slices. Okay, the carrots are chopped and put in there. Now I'm going to take my zucchini, peel it, and put it in as well. Okay, the zucchini's in. Now I'm going to cut an eggplant. I'll be honest, I don't think I've really eaten an eggplant before, and I've also never cut one, so I'll probably mess it up, but you know. The eggplant and the zucchini are in, and now it calls for 2 15-ounce cans of kidney beans, and I found a large 27-ounce can, so we're a couple ounces short, but seriously, my pot is getting so full, I feel like we're going to have this soup forever. Next it calls for a pound of frozen peas and a pound of frozen corn. Then it calls for a half a pound of mushrooms. I'm not a super huge mushroom fan, but I'm hoping the other flavors will kind of override it. I bought these. It says to wash them before use, so I will do that, and then I will chop them up. And I may or may not use all of them because, like I said, mushrooms. So. Second to last is 5 stalks of celery chopped up. The final thing it calls for is 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to stir it up as best as possible. I need to show you this pot. There's so much soup in here. Like, even with using 4 bags, I feel like we're just going to have a ton. I had to show you this. This is the minestrone we just made, and that's a pretty big, like, this is a pretty big pot. And it is completely full. And somehow I'm going to have to kind of like stir it, get it all mixed in, and then start ladling it out into the bags. Okay, so this is the last bit of the clip that you'll see for now. I did get 4 bags out of that. This is just one. It is, as you can see, it made a ton, so I'm excited. Okay, so here's a peek in my freezer at the moment. These right here and these right here is 10 different meals. I have another minestrone right now in the fridge because I'll be having that tomorrow. So that's 11 meals, and then 3 more pounds of ground beef, which is 12, 13, 14 meals. Those are going with just some really quick cheater meals I'm doing. And then over here is some garlic bread that we'll be using with 2 meals of meatless spaghetti. So altogether we got about 16 meals out of my little shopping spree today.